Can anyone catch them, do you think?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, unbelievable. We didn't expect that.
Hi Arsenal everywhere. Just a quick message here for Eid. Happy Eid for everyone, and I wish the best for you, and be safe and be healthy, and happy Eid to everyone.
Hi everyone. So welcome to another episode of the Gooners podcast. At last, we've got the gang back. I'm allowed to say that. So
Deepak is still missing.
So welcome Bob, welcome Arun, welcome Aben.
Hello.
Thank you, Picasso.
It's actually I don't know how about you guys, but I'm still feeling it's the next day after the game. The adrenaline is still not out of the system. The nervous wreck or nervous ball that I was yesterday, I'm still the same. I have not gotten better from yesterday to now. Are you guys feeling the same way, or you guys are like relaxed now?
See, the thing is, at the start of last month, April, if you had asked that, we'd be winning the games against Crystal Palace, Brighton, and Southampton, but then would eventually be losing the games against Chelsea, United, and then West Ham, obviously. Everybody would have said yes to that, right? Even we would have deep inside our hearts, that's what we would have thought. But having experienced a complete reverse, I don't know whether you would call that an adrenaline rush or whatever. it's the pass and package of following Arsenal, that you get the thrills and things for those which you don't expect for. And I mean, I'm not downplaying anything with the victory or anything. It's still an magnificent victory that we are going to talk about now. But for us to be completely doing a reverse of what was said earlier means that there's only one team who could do that, and that's Arsenal.
So actually, see, this is the problem. I have already been such a nervous wreck that my one or two neurons that work during sometimes is not working now. So I forgot to even give an intro that we are going to talk about West Ham game review, and then started talking. So yeah, we are here to talk about.
You should probably cut down on your Saturday night partying to compensate for this. Like you need your working neurons and brain cells. Too much of alcohol is not good.
but yeah, this is the episode that we are going to talk about the West Ham game, which we won surprisingly for 3 points. And to continue the discussion, Aben, you were at the game.
Hold on, why was that surprising?
Because it's Arsenal, it was an easier game on paper. West Ham was supposed to be putting the weakest team.
No. It was not a weak team. Come on, you're talking about West Ham here, especially this season.
Yeah, and they're like in the Europa League semi-finals.
Exactly. So that's the reason, right? Like they are in the Europa League semi-finals. They lost the first leg at home 2-1. So they would be putting all their ducks into the away leg or the return leg. Right, that's what I thought. So, and when you consider all that pointing to an easy Arsenal win, Arsenal loses usually. So that's why it was a surprising win from West Ham. Come on, my two neurons are working. Okay. So Aben, you were at the game, right?
Yeah, I was at the game. So for me, it was a tough game, to be frank. Like I think Bob mentioned earlier, we would have expected the Southampton Palace games to be easier than this, and this was a London derby that brings another dimension to it. So it was supposed to be a tough game. I was at the game, and I think we were not that fluent. I was there for the United game as well. We played much better in the United game compared to the West Ham game. For me, it was a scrappy win, but what matters is the 3 points, and I am frankly relieved that we're still ahead in the fourth place race with a 2 point cushion. So that's what counts at this moment. Every match play like a cup final, and let's see where we get to. Otherwise, the match was amazing. So even though it was scrappy, our fans, as usual, were amazing. They were at their best, and considering from where we came and where we are now, every 5-10 minutes they're singing about Mikel Arteta. That's how the fans have changed. That's how the bond between the fans and the team and the club has been forged this season. So it was definitely every game I go to see, you get a very different vibe as to the yesteryears previous years where I've gone to games. So that was definitely wonderful to see.
Aben, were you there till the end and then celebrating all those, with the players? I know you mentioned offline earlier that you were in the West Ham section, right?
So yes, I was. So I was in the West Ham section, but I waited. So the players were there, the fans were singing, so I was there. I was, in fact, trying to capture that in a video. Obviously, I couldn't sing with them, and there were few West Ham fans, so even I couldn't celebrate. But then it was for me, the best part was the great walk back from the stadium to the tube station, because that's when I got in with the Arsenal fans and with singing all the way back. So it was, I think the fans this season have definitely been the 12th man for this team, without a shadow of a doubt.
Especially in the away games, I feel, right? The away fans have been really vocal. Even watching in the TV, I could feel that every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, there was like a chant that was going around. Either it was Super Mika data or something, or Arsenal, or like, just a chant going around. It was nice, especially considering that it's West Ham Stadium. But around, like, before the start of the game, we had the Spurs game. I thought that contributed a lot to our pressure, right? Spurs winning their game contributed just before the kickoff of our game, kind of contributed a lot to the pressure of the game, especially if you consider the first half where we didn't play really well. There were like so many misplaced passes. Players were not in places for receiving the ball. Everyone was making mistakes. Shaka made a couple of ones. Deepak is going to yell at me saying like he was the player of the month. I didn't mention anything, but when he makes a mistake, I start to say something about it.
You're one of those Xhaka haters.
No, it's not about that, but everyone made a mistake. And why I mentioned Xhaka is there was this moment I think towards the end of the first half where he sent a crossfield ball to Saka. And I was like going, this is what you have to do. Like literally I was yelling at the screen going like, this is what you have to do. Took you 40 minutes for you to find that pass to Saka. So that was how it was happening, right? Like Gabriel was missing a lot of passes. Of course, our favorite Nuno was missing a lot of passes.
Oh, yeah.
Did that all contribute from the Spurs winning their game?
Well, when Ramsdale and Holding were talking at the end, like, post match, it was Ramsdale said he didn't even know the result, what was going on.
I mean, and is a liar, so.
Whatever it might be the case, like, Holding said it, but he also said like a very important thing. These kind of things are going to happen. Definitely, you're going to know what is happening with their results, and they are going to know sometimes when we do play earlier games what's going to happen with their results. Ideally, yes, with the kind of average age of the team that we have and the lack of leaders, these are the kind of things that can definitely impact the mood of the game and how they are going to play on that day. That is definitely going to happen. But I felt that I do not know if that was the only reason where we were like, playing really. It was iffy in the first half, mainly because of how West Ham were setting themselves up. All the things that we try to do, be it from the midfield or be it from the wings, we know how West Ham play. They do not have a defined playing way or anything. They are waiting for us to make a mistake, and they capitalize on it through their midfield, and that's exactly what they were doing. So, if you ask me if the results of the Tottenham game had an impact, it shouldn't. Ideally, it shouldn't, and I do not know if that was the case. Because like even after we scored the winning goal in the second half, early in the second half, and after that we played a sort of an assured game. If the players were impacted by the result, they would have been thinking too much about not letting the opposition score a goal or being too perfect, and that would have definitely led to something. But it seemed as if they were not letting that pressure get into their head. The team is maturing with every game. That was evident in the last two performances. Like you said, who would have expected us to lose to those three guys and then be able to win the next three on the trot against probably the toughest opposition that we were going to be facing in this last stretch. So that is making me really believe that this is not a team I wouldn't say this is not a team that is getting impacted by this, because we will see, like, we keep mentioning the 3 losses. So there is something there are deficiencies that in terms of mental, the ability to hold mental pressure or like fight through situations like this, they are still like, learning and building. But for me, that the fact that they are learning and building and did not let these things affect them was evident in not the way we won, but just the win. Like Aben said, at the end of the day, it's 3 points. 3 points has pushed us like 2 points above Tottenham. So this is for me just showed that they didn't really like let the pressure get. It was just a bad day. We were like not up to the mark, but West Ham were also the same. And like to the point of you telling that West Ham should have been an easy game, like I mean, come on, our average age, our experience, and everything put together, I think if you like not just the talent that we perceive from our players, if you just look at the experience and skill level, I think it was an even competition. Both the teams are making mistakes. It wasn't like West Ham were like at the top of their game and like punishing mistakes. We know what they're capable of. We've gone like 3-0 down in the first half with them before. So we know what they're capable of. So for me, like it was not really a case of them like succumbing to pressure, but just like a bad day. I mean, it's like even the United game, we weren't like spectacular, right? We were like, making mistakes, and there we did not have any Spurs result pressure either. So it's just like one of these things that we're learning. We'll get better. I don't think these guys like are letting the Spurs results get into their head. That's what I feel, and they cannot afford to do that either. That's another big thing.
Mm. But Aben, so when the team sheet came out, it was sort of a surprise for a lot of people. For me, not so much, because I thought like last game when Arteta mentioned that there were a couple of players in the red zone, I knew that either one of the center backs is going to drop off, and especially when the team sheet came out, Ben White
Or Saka. I thought like it was I wasn't. I
always
was
thought it
thinking
was Saka.
Saka. I thought more it was going to be Saka. Yeah.
But still, it was a surprise for a lot of people when it came out. Like Ben White didn't start, and then Martinelli was picked ahead of Smith Rowe. Although no one was complaining about the latter, but Ben White not starting, how much was that contributing to the nervousness among fans, at least at the start of the game?
So I think definitely it'll add on to that. There's no doubt in that, because I think we've got a fairly, stable center back pairing who've been starting week in, week out. So the moment you change something, taking nothing away from the man of the match, he's done everything right. Last games also, when he's come in the fight, last 5-10 minutes, whatever. But still, with White not being in, it was a surprise for me, because I expected it might have been Saka, because he was also substituted towards the end of the last game. So Ben not being there in the team obviously would have had an impact on the fans also. And from a gameplay as well, his passing range is something you can't replace when Holding comes in. Holding can defend the ball definitely, but his passing range, etc. So that gives another dimension when Ben White plays. But I think as a team, sorry, Bob, you're going to say something. I'll let you.
I was going to say, I read somewhere yesterday that, there were chants going around for the fans saying, bring on Rob Holding. Not realizing the fact that he was already there.
So there are a lot of memes going around. Arteta looking to get on Holding.
Yeah, he's already there on the
Somebody
pitch.
saying Holding's already on the
pitch.
So I think Holding did an amazing job. But having said that, yes, if Ben White would have started, everybody would have been less. The tension would have been slightly lesser, because they've been starting and doing it week in, week out.
Yeah, and I think like if I may add on to that, like the only thing is I feel that like Ben White like invites press and beats it very comfortably. So he's basically taking two people out of the equation at that point, and he's like giving a lot. I don't expect Holding to do that, but like that's where I think like it made it more difficult for us to have some cohesion in the play. Ben White like has these passes, he has this intelligence, not taking anything away from Holding, but like that aspect of the game would have definitely like his game would have definitely improved our gameplay in like during the West End game. And that's what we missed. Maybe that was also another reason why we were like all over the place for most
So
games, most of the game.
I don't know if you guys noticed but I felt I think we were passing back quite a lot, and
Yeah,
that could
yeah,
have
yeah,
been
yeah.
one of the reasons, like
That's
Arun
that's
mentioned.
that's that's something that, like, when elderly plays, you expect that all the time, right? Only when he forward passes, it's a different thing. So
So Bob, I was actually like a little bit. I know a lot of people are going to give me slack for this, but I was hoping Smith Rowe was going to be picked ahead of Martinelli, especially in this game. Because although I love Martinelli and everyone knows that, I think like Martinelli needs some time coming off the bench and making an impact. Because even though he has been working hard and everything, there has not been a lot of end product from Martinelli of late.
Maybe you can say so, but see, Smith Rowe has been, he has been in slithering form as well himself. So it's very hard to judge, considering that both of them almost play in a similar position. But to be honest, I was not really surprised when Smith Rowe was actually dropped for Martinelli, because if you looked at the United game, if you had watched it deeply, he didn't really have any big impact on the game, and he was rightly snapped up. Substituted at around the 60th minute mark there. So Saka, Martinelli coming in would have definitely, as the guys were actually talking about the defensive formation, in offense, Martinelli coming in would make a lot of sense, especially to counter a team against like West Ham, because his pace would actually become very useful, especially in wider areas, and he can actually stretch the play as much to a level that we can get ourselves in dangerous positions, and precisely what happened with the second goal as well, but we'll talk about that. But the thing is, Martinelli definitely brings in more dimension, and when you actually play in areas where we have set up widely, he is definitely much more useful than what Smith Rowe can offer in places. So I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer that we picked up Martinelli. Maybe I won't be surprised as well if Arteta continues to use him against the Leeds game as well.
Interesting.
I don't know if you guys have noticed. So like Arteta has been shuffling around. He starts Smith Rowe for a few games, then Martinelli for a game. That's been happening from the beginning of the season.
Their form has been dropping.
Has also, yeah, exactly. So I think they're young players. So
plus the way in which they can, aid the defensive side of the game, like depending on
Sadly, there is no
Tavares
one there available on the right flank to replace Saka.
Nico Pepe.
Very true.
Arun is taking a massive offense at that. But why that question of Martinelli came about was there was a stat. I don't know if you guys have noticed that before this game, Martinelli and Nuno played together for 4 games, out of which we lost 3 games. One was Southampton, I think one was Wimbledon, one was Forest, and one was United. So we won the Wimbledon game, rest 3 we lost. So it was a trend that, like, with Martinelli and Nuno, we are not that safe.
Both of them are more attack minded. There is no one who can actually track back. I'm not saying it, if
Martinelli does put in a shift when required. We have seen him do that, right? When we've seen him like play even left wing back when the situation demanded. So I do not know if it's like, for that matter, even ESR, like when he was playing along with Nuno, I didn't see too much of a difference in terms of like, defense. I've seen like Martinelli do the same things that ESR did. Maybe the only thing that ESR did was like the ball carrying and moving through the central areas of the pitch, while like Bob said, Martinelli prefers to like, stretch the pitch more. So that's the only, like, probably that's the tactical difference that I see in between, like, playing them both.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but also like, okay, let's move on to the incidences during the match, right? Like, Bob, I'll start with you. For the first 30 minutes before the goal, we didn't do anything very great offensively, and West Ham didn't put us a lot of pressure. Like, they didn't put us into like a lot of threatening positions or anything. I think there was one save from Ramsdale in the first half, right? That was first half.
Ramsdale stop was based on, I mean, that was out of Declan Rice's header.
Yeah.
That he did. Even before that, I mean, if you want to significantly talk about Holding and his presence there, there was actually a move which we did, which we tried doing, but then there was a quick counter from West Ham from that, and out of that, Lanzini was in a pretty good position, and he took a beautiful shot, only for it to be saved by Holding. You know, if not for Holding, definitely, I thought the ball was definitely going in. With the power that he hit the shot, it was most likely going in. Until that time, the game was pretty dumb. To be fair. So yeah, both teams were all, trying to do something, but not really been doing anything at all to pressure each other. After the Lanzini block, right, we immediately converted that to a counter attack. It was actually Saka's run to the West Ham box, which we were in a glorious position. I probably thought that was a clear goal scoring opportunity, only for it to be foiled or a touch more by Nketiah. I mean, of course, he went on to have a great game after that, but still, I probably thought, a striker of a good experience would have tried converting that into a goal.
I was really like yelling at Nketiah the whole game for shooting straight at the keeper. There was like a couple of moments where he did that.
I think just two of them were almost going out. We'll talk about those 3 shots.
But Vijay, just think about it. Like just at the beginning of the season, you were screaming at him for not taking any shots. Like now you're screaming at him for taking shots straight at the keeper. There's improvement. We'll get there.
If you have not gotten the message that I'm a fickle Arsenal fan, I don't know what else could I say about the whole thing.
But yeah, I think Nketiah needs to carry some blame for foiling that shot. That was a brilliant move, I thought, from Saka. His run was next to nothing, I would say, because, had it been a decent striker in that position, we would have been like 1-0 out of sight straight away. But then thankfully, Holdini's goal happened. That was again, that was from a corner, but that was Saka's cross again. So
beautifully constructed. Like during the halftime, they did this explanation of how the goal happened. Like literally, they had blockers blocking. I think Xhaka and there was one more person. So they were blocking those two, and then Holding kind of made the run to get away from Lanzini to get that header, which was like beautifully constructed from the training ground. I felt really good around that point. Sorry, Bob.
Oh, totally. Well, how was celebrations there, Aben? I know you were a bit muted there, but then what was the fans' reactions until that point in time, and then how did it change?
Obviously, the fans were still behind the team. They were full on singing for Arsenal. The moment the goal scored, I think the first chant or the second chant that came out was "We Super Mick Arteta." So they believe in Arteta so much that even after the goal, the first chant coming was for Arteta. So I think obviously the fans went berserk after the goal went in, and and similarly when we went behind, like it's like a usual Arsenal game. Oh no. And especially conceding in a 45th minute. I think we do that quite often, actually. So it was dull, but yeah, the fans were just amazing after the goal and otherwise also.
That was a very, Holding to score that type of a goal. That's his first ever Premier League goal. So surprising. I thought he scored before this, right? I don't know.
That was his first goal in 2.5 years as well. So
yeah, it's his first ever Premier League goal. That's a very
he scored goals in Carabao Cup, etc., but he hasn't scored. That's why I don't know if you guys heard the post-match interview where Ramsdale
6 years and a new hairline.
Exactly.
6 years and a new hairline.
Love that guy for all his banter and everything. But Arun, like, I was hoping that we would go into the halftime, 1-0 up. literally I was yelling, going like, blow the whistle, stop the game, stop the counting. Like
When the goal went in, it seemed like, oh shit, this is going to be another of those movies that we've seen like so many times. This one's not. I told my friends, I was about to leave to get on the bus to come back home, and I told my friend like, yeah, this one's done. If we are scoring, they're letting them score one halftime, knowing what West Ham are and like what they are playing for. I didn't really expect them to do anything in the second half to give us opportunities, even open spaces. So I was when the goal was scored, I do not know if this was right on my part, but like I did feel that the game was done at that point. I didn't see us making a comeback, honestly. But they did surprise me, like I wasn't expecting a goal from Gabriel either. So so like two centre backs scoring did surprise me, and yeah, this was this that the team does it doesn't matter whether we give up or we give up the belief or not. The team doesn't seem to be giving up that belief. They seem to be believing more than ever that they have a real shot at top four. And like we were discussing about the Spurs things letting them affect, it did seem to let them affect. So that's why I feel this team is handling pressure much better than the other teams that we've seen in the last few years.
Did you guys think that I probably had this thought, but did you guys think that if not for that Gabriel's deflection, that goal wouldn't have gone in if it was going straight?
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought
Ramsdale might have got there.
Yeah, he would have saved it because he was totally wrong-footed. I don't think he was expecting the ball.
Not just that, I don't think the ball was going into the goal in the first place.
No, it was actually.
I think it was going in. Only thing is,
yeah.
Ramsdale would have got there.
He would have been easily be able to save it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was just waiting there. It would have probably come to him straight or to his left.
I mean, in no way I'm blaming Gabriel there because I don't think that was his fault.
Ball hitting the bum, you cannot do anything.
But I thought it was a fault of Nuno. Nuno was nowhere near that.
Yeah. See, most of the goals that we've been conceding recently have all been through the left flank. We know that that's an area of concern, as always. That's been the case since Nuno has been playing recently. So as much as we love him going forward, he is always, caution.
Maybe you do, Bob. We don't.
So see, my heart is on my sleeve every time. So he runs his balls. No.
But yeah, the concern was with Nuno, right? Like even during the game, there was one moment I think when Xhaka was yelling at Nuno to get back. And I was going like, yeah, you tell him to move. Like, yeah, he was not being defensively sound. He has never been, and it's an area of concern. But second half, Bob, we kind of came out a little bit better. I felt our passes were much more forward. There was one moment I think you are going to talk about. You are going to rub the pass in the face of Arun from Elneny. Pirlo's pass from Elneny.
Actually, there are a few more talking points which I wanted to do before we get to that brilliant pass. The second half, yes, I agree. We started with a better tempo and all those sort of things. I felt initially, initial part of the second half was all dominated by West Ham as such. I mean, even Benarama's shot, which Holding blocked again, that was a brilliant block, absolutely a brilliant one out of nowhere. And then again, seriously, my heart-stopping moment came when Ramsdale rushed out of his box. He was way out of the leg, seriously. And I don't know how he could actually have timed that only for him to go. I mean, it was the right outcome in the end, with Bowen getting an yellow card for diving and all those sort of things. Have to really admit Bowen for admitting what he did was wrong and then apologizing as well. But that could have been with Mike Dean on. But seriously, I had little doubt that it was going to be a sending off.
Leave Mike Dean out of it. Even if you consider if Bowen didn't jump out of that tackle, if he had taken him out, that would have been a straight red, irrespective of any.
Straight away, right?
Yeah, and that would have been the game for sure.
100%, yeah.
Maybe he was a bit far off. He was not. Ramsdale was nowhere near. Maybe he started off late. I didn't watch the proper angle of how and when he started running, but I felt probably he was a touch late, and that's why he didn't get to the ball on time. And that's why, I mean, thankfully here Bowen did kick it out, so it was all good in the end. But it was a moment which could have changed the course of the game, exactly similar to the United game where we could have conceded a goal, when we were, or we could have equalized, or United could have equalized to 2-2 during that game. But thankfully that didn't happen, and then came the Martinelli pass to Gabby to score a header again. Yeah, so that again changed the course of the whole game. Now we were 2-1 up, and then rest all we managed to hold it on till the end. But yeah, I mean, moments like this are going to define the rest of the season, and then how we stand up, or how we manage to be there in the top 4.
Now it's time for you to talk about the Pirlo's pass.
See, all these were built up towards that, so you could see all the actions and things packing up before we talk about that. Mate, seriously, even Pirlo would have been on this, he would have got up from his seat, and then, he would have bowed down to that hell in his pass. Seriously.
That's too much, Bob. See, that's you just went a little bit over. Okay, it was a very good pass. I'm not questioning that, but like Pirlo, no.
Yes, man. Seriously, I don't. Seriously, I agree with 100% that it's a peach out of a pass. Seriously, yeah. You have to see the angle that he picked the ball from, and then Nketiah obviously pointed him to put the ball there to the corner, and for Nketiah to cover the ground and go there to be on an onside position and be there is absolutely good. I just wish that he had his curlers on, because I mean, we spoke about the shots which Nketiah took, but unfortunately what he didn't curl the ball enough in 2 of those 3 occasions that he did. So I mean, had Smith Rowe been there in such situations, I'm pretty sure he would have actually curled the ball.
No, Bob. Let's compare like Eddie to Laka. I think that would be the one to win. Like Smith Rowe is not going to play centre forward, and what Eddie has been, we should be like appreciating him at this point. We've given him enough slack. I find like we've like probably Eddie is one of the players that the entire fan base has been like completely against because of his lack of like the things that he was not able to do, plus the contract saga and everything. He's probably showing us right now what he's capable of when he's given an extended run of games. So this coming from like what he's 21, 22 right now?
I think he's 23 or 24, right?
23, no, even then.
I think 22, 23, somewhere around that.
22, way. Yeah. Like, and we have not given him a fair chance at like games, like, whatever it is, he's providing a dynamism that Lacazette never did, and we've been screaming out for this. So I think like more than talking about what he did not do, I think this could be like, for me at least, because I'm in a mood to praise Eddie. So for me at least, I think it feels like we should be talking more about the things that he did rather than the things that he did not do. Sorry if I cut you off.
In your praise for him, does it include any new contracts?
I would be happy to give him a new contract if he's going to take one.
To be frank, me also. So like Arun said, I think he did an excellent job. His holding up was good. Holding up play was good. To get into those positions to take that shot, Laka would not have done that.
Exactly. At this
moment.
That's why I said
I thought this was about praising El Nene. You guys took this limelight to him.
No, I don't think okay. So Eddie, right? I don't think I would give him a contract.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I think he has done good work. Yeah, but this is like the Willox saga, right? Like where we could celebrate highest thing, but I don't think we are going to get anything out of it. It's a free transfer. He would do well at some other club, which he would start regularly, which he would play regularly. I don't think he's a kind of player who would come in and score goals. Like, because if we are going to go into Champions League next season, we would have to definitely sign a better upgrade than Eddie.
Oh no, definitely. What I meant was like we'll be signing two strikers. That's it's Eddie's not going to be one of the two, but he's not someone that we need to let go. We are ready to trust Balogun, who we probably seen like play one game at the senior level,
No, I think like
over someone like Eddie, who's like showing what he's capable of doing when he's given a fair run of games.
no, I think like so that's the point where I think I'll disagree with you, Arun, right? Like because I don't think Balogun is going to be a second choice.
No,
Like
third choice. I'm talking about just a
Same
third
here.
choice
yes,
striker.
so Eddie.
Someone who would be able to play in the cup games and like provide maybe like a different dimension when we are in need.
Yeah,
But like
but I don't
I have told this before. He would probably like not fit Arsenal. He'll fit a team like Crystal Palace or like be like a Darren Bent sort of a player. But then like it's not bad to have a Darren Bent sort of a player in your team either.
Yeah, but I don't think Eddie would like to be a third choice striker. I don't think he would be content to be a third choice striker, especially considering his age and everything. It would be better for him and for Arsenal to personally put him into like, okay, go anywhere, play your trade, because like you said, he's going to be the striker who's going to play between like 15th to 20th position of the PL. Like the
Oh, come on, at least 10th. Let's at least 10th and like,
yeah,
start
10,
maybe like at
10
the
to
beginning
20.
of the bottom
It's going,
half. Yeah.
okay, let's say he's going to be like 10 to 20 in any of those teams. He could be a striker, either a starter or a second choice striker. He could be there, right? But not at Arsenal when we are trying to push on to a top four. I don't think that's the case. But the Aben, about the Eddie and Declan Rice and whomever was there during that incident, Eddie took a yellow for Arteta, right? That's literally what he did. He just went in that he shouldn't have done that. If someone else, if it was done against us, we would have been furious about it. But it's our player, so we would be okay with it, right?
So I think I don't know if you guys heard all the press conferences after the game. So I think in one of the press conferences, Arteta was asked a question. Uh, did you like the street smartness of your players in getting that win? So I think towards the end, it is about everything. Whatever you do, even the small actions of time wasting, whatever, it all adds up. And knowing Arsenal when you're 2-1 down, and they brought on, I think Antonio came on.
Yeah,
So
that was
yeah, and Soucek also came back. And just off topic, I think both of them not being there probably helped us also, because I think with them, those two goals would have been slightly different. Our attacking threat, aerial threat might have been slightly different.
Antonio would have outmuscled Tavares at least 9 out of 10 times.
Exactly.
Thrown him out of the park.
Obviously, it helped a lot that they have got European commitments, and they were probably slightly tired also. So that all helped in our factor. But even then, I think towards the end of the game, managing the game, even if it is foul, time wasting, everything you did, I think Saka also, I think, tried. He sat on the pitch once. The ref didn't take anything. He went on playing the game. So I think all that adds up, because I think when we are not at our best, it matters when small things like this waste some time and we get over the line. So I think for me, it was okay. A little bit of shithousery is not bad.
A little bit of shithousery is not bad. That's the motto that we are going to, go with for the rest of the season. But guys, I think like there is not a lot more to talk about this game. I think it's better we leave at the 3 points right here, right now. And hopefully we will continue this run. Hopefully we'll finish about Tottenham and we celebrate the St. Tottenham stay that we have not been able to celebrate for so long. I'm just waiting for that moment where mathematically we are going to finish above them. And, I have a couple of friends here who are Tottenham fans. I just want to go in front of their houses and start yelling and dancing.
Well, you need to change your friends, mate.
Also on that note, we've played our last game with Mike Dean. So Mike Dean is retiring, for those who don't know, at the end of the season. So we played our last game with him. There's no more Mike Dean. Yeah. There will be another bastard coming out in his position, but yeah, definitely not in Mike Dean's form.
Yeah, we are not going to be sorry to see him go, but that's a positive end to the season for us anyways. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining in, and for everyone who's still listening, do like, share, subscribe, and comment in your thoughts on Eddie's contract and things like that. So thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.